Welcome everybody! This is gonna be my first LeagueStarter build guide for 1.0. 1.0 is less than a month away right now, so I'm gonna start popping out a few build guides for LeagueStarters so that you can start practicing if you want and get ready for 1.0 release. This is gonna be Necromancer, and more specifically we're gonna be focusing on summon Flame Wraiths. Now, the leveling process we're using, it's basically free for everyone. Any Necromancer can use it and then transition into any build they would like. But in this case, whenever we get a couple of key items for the build, we are transitioning into Flame Wraiths. We're gonna be explaining everything. Before that, if you find the video useful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We got a lot more content coming up. And let's start explaining. First of all, we're gonna be going how the build works. We are using assembled abomination, but we're using a static abomination. Basically, it's just gonna stand there. As you can see, their life being drained right now, and that's gonna be happening all the time when you summon it until it reaches basically 1%. It's not gonna die from it because its current life being drained. We're gonna be popping our Dreadshade. Anything outside the range of Dreadshade is getting buffed, ourselves as well. And then you just cast 3 or 4 Flame Wraiths. You're popping your drain life below them, and you just keep going on your echoes. That's basically the thing. Very easy rotation, very easy playstyle, but it is a high APM playstyle, so it's an interactive minion build. One of the reasons that I really like, and it's very effective and strong. Let's go to our planners here. I'm gonna be giving you 3 planners. The first one is a Necromancer level 45. Basically, this is the planner to get you through the part of the campaign that you are finishing all your passives and all your idol slots, and then you start normal monoliths, right? This is what you would like to have. Everything is with progression, so that you know what to prioritize while you're leveling. Same for the skills. We're gonna be using Summon Skeleton. Again, we have progression here, right? Nothing too exciting. We're just going for Dread Phalanx and Rangers. I found Dread Phalanx make them a little bit tankier, and Summon Skeletons are some of the most fragile minions that we have. So I kinda like this version of it. Then we're gonna be using Flame Wraiths as well. Again, nothing too exciting, but I need to specify something here. You don't need to take those 2 points on Flame Wraiths early on. I like it because it provides you with a little bit of extra reach whenever you're hitting the chance for Flame Wraiths, and that's completely fine to have early on, but you don't really need it. Now, the summon limit on Wraiths by default is 6, and they're also decaying, so we need some kind of leech on our Wraiths to make them last longer. We're gonna talk about that on our passive tree. On the Summon Skeletal Mage, I went for Archmage and Necrotic damage. This one was fairly effective, very good clear, and also very tanky, so I didn't have to worry about resummoning my Skeletal Mage very often. And of course, we're going for Dreadshade. This is one of the strongest minion buffs for a Necro that we can get. Now, the level 80 Necromancer planet that I have here is basically what you aim to have when you are out of your early monoliths. That's what about the level you're gonna have, about 77 to level 80, depending on how much EXP you're farming. And the passive tree has a couple of changes, not a lot though. And this is where you want to get prepared to swap into your Flame Wraiths. Just to be clear, to swap into your Flame Wraiths, we're gonna be talking about that in our last planner here. This is the endgame planner. You need at least 1 Adorn Immortal Idol with a prefix chance to summon Flame Wraiths as high as possible rolled. That's why you would like to farm echoes for idol rewards early on your normal monoliths as much as you can if you find them. And of course, you would like the Staff Aberrant Call. This one you can get from Runes of Ascendance. Those drop fairly commonly right now from chests inside your echoes, so make sure you keep an eye on them because it's gonna be very important. I swapped during my third monolith, the Ending of Storms, the Lagoon monolith, so it's fairly easy. If you get lucky with one of those idols and you have a few runes of ascendance, you can get the stuff and swap into the build fully. Now, let's talk about the passive tree first of all. This is again the end game. So we are going for Forbidden Knowledge, Intelligence and Necrotic Resistance here. We're grabbing Dark Rituals. This is very important, a minion cast speed. We also want as much vitality as we can. Also provides us a little bit minion health. And I like to take this one. It's free armor, 300 free armor for our Flame Wraiths. We need 5 points on our leads. This is 5 intelligence, and we are unlocking Drain Life. And for our Necromancer tree, where the bulk of our points are going, we're gonna be maxing out Rising Army. This is amazing. Increased cast speed for our minions. 3 points travel here, and then we're getting all the minion stretch chance. We're also gonna be taking Life Drinker here. Life Drinker sacrifices one of your Flame Wraiths and it heals you basically for your full life. This is fairly important because one of the main issues with this build is that you don't have a lot of defensive layers. We are reaching a good amount of armor, right? So you want to cap your endurance, and then your life full becomes the main source of your EHP after that. So whenever something drops you very low, you just pop a pot, you're back full, and you have your full EHP in place. Now, Frantic Summons, one of the most important ones. Again, we're getting cast speed for ourselves and our minions. And River of Bones, this is one of the passives that you would like to get as soon as possible once you unlock it, because this is what gives you the initial leads on your raids to stay alive longer and combat their own drain. Other than that, I like Tyrant. This is increased health for ourselves. We need as much life pool as we can. This is Vitality and Minion Lord Resistances. Very, very good. Personally, I love it. Vitality scales a lot of things for us. We're gonna talk about that on our skill session. And Empty Graves, this is just free armor for you, so I kinda like it. It's optional. Personally, I wanna grab it. We're maxing out the flat damage here, and this is very strong. With the 30 elemental resistance that we're getting from Rite of Undeath, you can just cap your resistances from this and your contempt stacks from Drain Life. You don't need anything else. Now, the last one is Blades of the Thorn. This is a critical strike multiplier and a little bit of chill chance. Chill chance is a nice small defensive layer that you can get. Don't skip it if you can get it for free, and you can get some points out of here and put them in heresy if you need a little bit more critical strike chance. Generally speaking, we're not capping our crit chance for our minions, so it's not that important in my opinion. Alright, now let's get into the skills. Summon Flame Wraiths. Alright, so here we have the Locus of Resurrection. This is what makes you cast your Wraiths on a target location and not basically out of yourself. And this is what makes them cannot move, right? They're making them basically turrets, what we call them. We're getting the flat damage. This is a very nice one. Extra leads and a lot of more necrotic damage. We're maxing out cast speed here and mana efficiency. That's gonna help you a lot because they are a little bit spendy, and we're casting them all the time. 2 points here on the Flame Wraith. If you have 2 adorned idols with 50% plus chance for Flame Wraiths, those 2 points you can skip, but that's up to you, and that's very high end game if you get near perfect idols. Base critical strike chance here, base critical strike chance here, and extra leads, and a little bit of a crit multi. Fairly simple for our wraiths here. Now, onto the Drain Life. So basically what we're doing is making our Drain Life being a channel spell that we're casting on the floor, and it can target our own minions, right? So for that part, it gives us the benefits of Drain Life and most important, it gives us the content stacks right here. This is one of the strongest things that we can get as a defense on our build. It increases our armor, it gives us all resistances. It's an amazing buff all around. I'm not gonna talk a lot about this tree. It's fairly simple. You can just check it out yourselves. This is what makes it targeting minions. This is what makes it being cast instead of channel. And I like Grasp of the Damned. Some people skip that. This is additional targets. You can skip that if you would like, but that is entirely up to you. I like this tree. This one has worked for me greatly. I've played a fully min-maxed Flame Wraith Necro for many hours, so I'm gonna keep going for that. Assemble Abomination. This is very simple. We don't need most of the passives here. Now we are traveling here into right side. We're making our Abomination stationary, and we would like to get that one as well. Other than that, we just need the more health here. Everything else just gravy. You don't really need anything. This is cannot summon bone golems. We don't care. We don't have bone golems. This is just for the minus 100% health regen. Basically, the fastest we can decay our abomination, the better it is. I'm gonna explain on the Dreadshade why. And this is why we also getting extra points here for our health decay. Now, Dreadshade, this is what makes the build work. We're gonna be using Lone Watcher. This makes us cast one Dreadshade only and increases the duration by 100%. Basically, your Dreadshade lasts about 40 seconds. We're grabbing the cast speed and the necrotic damage here. And we want Grim Fate and Symbiotic Apparition. Now, as you can see, I have 3 points here, but you can take one of them and put it here. That's completely fine. It's basically what you would like. Both of them are really good. We are taking Symbiotic Apparition to get affected by our Dreadshade as well, and we're getting Spectral Distance that makes Dreadshade buffing things outside the range. And we're traveling here to Martyrdom. This is why we want to stack Vitality. We're getting a lot of armor per Vitality point for ourselves and our minions, of course. But we're using it mainly for ourselves because this buff and every little buff that I talked about here gets amplified by this Flesh Harvester node here. Basically, because we're casting Dreadshade on Abomination, and we're scaling as much hit points on our Abomination as we can. As long as it gets drained very fast, we are getting the increased effect per missing health on our target of Dreadshade. This is what makes this build and what elevates it to another level, right? And it gives you a ton of armor. Like on my min-max Necro, I'm hitting 13k, 15k sometimes armor when I have all my buffs up. It's kind of insane how much it gives you. Also, one of the things that might get changed or nerfed in the next patch, but we'll see when we get our patch notes. Last but not least, we're getting Transplant. I really like Transplant on Necro builds. We are getting the bone armor, that's extra armor, extra tankiness. We're just getting the duration and the effect here. And haste and frenzy for 3 seconds. It's almost perma up if you get a little bit cooldown recovery rate on your boots or your belt, and 15% kill threshold. Cannot ask for more, right? Now, let's talk about our blessings real quick. Black Sun, we're getting void resistance. You can get health here as well. As I said, we're getting 50% resistance out of contempt stacks, so we don't need an incredible amount of resistances. I'm getting critical strike avoidance with Reign of Dragons. You can cap your crit avoidance with a nice roll on this one, and the tier 5 crit avoidance on your ring. Minion damage or flat armor on Spirits of Fire, both of them are completely fine. Very high end game, once you have good gear, I would take minion damage. Otherwise, I would take armor early on to get extra tankiness. I usually value tankiness a little bit extra from damage if I can, so yeah, that's up to you though. Both of them are completely viable. And we'll get increased armor from Age of Winter. Lagoon and the Storms, it's not very important. I do like the flat mana, makes our rotation a little bit smoother. Now, we talked about Aberrant Call. Apart from the Aberrant Call, another unique is very, very important here. You can get this LP, doesn't really matter on Logis. It's actually fairly difficult to get LP, but you want the minion critical strike chance to roll 3% and not 2%. That's very important. You want the flat to be maxed out. I'm gonna talk about another unique that you can get instead of the Noble Gloves here, and that is going to be Jura's Obsession. Jura's Obsession is a fantastic minion pair of gloves. It drops from Jura at Temporal Sanctum, and all of the stats that you have on the gloves, they also apply to your minions. It drops with 1 LP basically guarantee, so you can get extra cast speed that amplifies your damage on your minions. Personally, I prefer a nice fat health pair of gloves because we already have a lot of damage. But Jura's Obsession is completely fine and a nice option for you. Don't hesitate if you find a good pair of that. Other than that, on our helmet and on our body armor, we want increased minion critical strike chance. That's very important as a prefix, and the rest is just vitality and increased life and increased percent health. On our belt, I like getting minion health on our belt as exalted because you want your Flame Wraiths to be a little bit chunkier so they don't get one shot once you start pushing higher corruption, you know, from bosses, monolith bosses, either robbies and stuff like that. This is the only reason you need minion health. We have a lot of damage, so we're leeching a lot on our Flame Wraiths so they will never die from their own decay, but a little bit of extra minion health, I find it very, very good. Other than that, you want health again and cleanse elements as a sealed tier 1 affix. That's pretty standard for a belt. 2 rings, turquoise rings, as high implicit rolls as you can get. We take advantage of all of them, minion damage, minion health and crit multi on this build. For your prefixes you want minion damage and either intelligence or strength for extra armor. I prefer intelligence. You can also get minion health, but that's up to you. I like exalted health here, and one of them is gonna be crit avoidance, one of them is gonna be endurance. We want to cap our endurance as easy as possible, and we're gonna be getting endurance on our rune bones as well. You can get endurance on your helmet if you would like. There are a few different options. Boots, fairly standard. Movement speed, vitality, and health. I'm choosing Solarum Greaves because they are the best boot base in my opinion. Highest flat armor on the implicit and good amount of movement speed as well. Gear is fairly straightforward. I would say you don't need a lot of different or rare affixes. Now let's move on to our idols. As I mentioned before, add-on idols, we want 2 of those with a prefix chance to summon Flame Wraith, and we want the suffix on the large immortal idol chance to march for death for minion hit. That reduces the resistances of our enemies, so increases our damage by quite a bit. You can get the suffix on the adorned immortal idol, but I prefer crit or health. You can get up to 72 flat life on your suffixes here if you get a little bit lucky with your idols, or if you buy it from your merchant guild. So yeah, it has a few good options for those idols, and everything else is just resistances and as much health as you can possibly can. We don't have any other special idols that we take advantage of. Now, apart from these planners, I'm also gonna be giving you a filter here. I'm gonna be linking that into the description, of course, along with the planners, and you can just export the filter file, and if you go into your game, Shift and F, open your loot filter. You can go here to add a new filter, open your filter folder and just copy that in there, and the filter is gonna be here. This is my filter. I'm gonna explain it here in game. Basically, this is a small copy that I made from a universal filter for league starters. I took out some of the strictest things, and I left all the good things in there as well. And I've added special rules on top of it for our early game progression, leveling, and you know, our the most important part here for Summon Flame Wraith idols. Now I'm just showing rare and magic items from 1 level to 20, and this is what we have as a rule for our body armors, offhands, and accessories. Basically just life resistances, and you can add any affixes here for those, and you can make it a little bit easier for yourself to gear up early on. I have a couple of nice acolyte affixes early on. This is mainly for the campaign, just to get a little bit extra damage for your minions and make your life easier. Same here, this is early game idols, basically before you transition into Flame Wraiths. A couple of nice acolyte and generic idols here. If you get lucky, you will not get a lot of them. Hopefully you just drop this pub here and you transition into Flame Wraiths as fast as possible. Now you can use this filter of mine into monoliths and empowered monoliths. It is highly configurable. I have everything categorized, so you can do whatever you want with it. Don't be afraid to play around with it. If you have any questions, you can always drop by my Twitch chat and ask them. I'm doing filters for all of my league starters. Everything is gonna be linked on the description. 3 of our planners and our filter. I do hope that you enjoy this build. I have a full LeagueStarter scenario run with this build, campaign and monoliths fully cleared. So, also I'm explaining the transitioning on the Flame Wraiths, and I'm also explaining what you can do if you don't have the Aberrant Call but you have the idol. So make sure to check them out if you want all the details about how you level up with this build. Other than that, I do hope that everyone has a nice league start for 1.0. We have a lot more things coming, so I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!